Peace, my name is Daru Jones. I'm an artist, drummer, producer, influencer. So my influences range from gospel to jazz to rock and roll and hip hop. I remember starting at the age of 4. My mom and dad, they're both musicians. They play organ. Rest in peace, Dad. My dad was my mom's organ teacher, and that's how they got together, and the rest was history for me to be here. I went to a Pentecostal church and we had service a lot of nights during the week. I would see my cousins and uncles. A lot of them played, and I have a really big family, so I got inspired by watching them. And make a long story short, when I started learning about the gospel legends like the Winings, the drummer was Bill Maxwell, and their touring drummer was Dana Davis from Detroit, Michigan. It's one of my influences. Michael Williams from the group called Commission, another influence. And then when I started learning about the jazz drummers, I got introduced to Tony Williams, Live in New York. That was a VHS tape that I had, and then I got hip to Buddy Rich Memorial series, which it was a 4-part series at the time, and part 2 was Vinnie Colaiuta, one of my influences. It was Steve Gadd and Dave Weckl. They were always a part of that particular concert. And then I started to learn about all the other jazz drummers, from Omar Keen, but people that I feel like influenced me, definitely Dana Davis from the gospel circuit, Vinnie Colaiuta, he's an all-around drummer, Steve Gadd, same thing, all-around drummer, Will Kennedy, and then eventually I would find out hip-hop drumming. So I want to shout out Questlove and The Roots. The Roots was the first hip-hop band that I saw, that with that live component. So I want to give him, props for also being influenced at a certain period in my career. Also, Clyde Stubblefield and Jabo, they both were James Brown's drummers. And then the rock and roll drummers, you have John Bonham, played with Led Zeppelin. Mitch Mitchell, who played with Hendrix. So it's a very diverse list of drummers. One of the things that I wanted to be, taking a page out of Steve Gadd's book, he's a very genre-bending drummer, which means you can put him in any genre situation. He doesn't overplay, he gets the job done, but he also has a style, swag. So that's one of the things that I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to go from gospel, and then I evolved in my career and I started playing jazz. I evolved in that and I started being a hip-hop drummer, And then I went from that to being a rock and roll guy. I've also played Caribbean music. I've been in 2 steel drum bands, so I know how to play that, and yeah, I want to be able to do it all. When I went to school, all my friends was into hip hop, and I would start learning about that. I was like, what's this hip hop? Then I started finding out about, the video shows that would come on, and I would record them on my cassette tape. I started being like a super born again Christian, like super hardcore. And a lot of the rap that came out at the time, it was very parental. Parental advisory, like NWA and stuff that I really shouldn't have been listening to. But for some reason, I was able to tune out the lyrics, and I started focusing on the producer. And then that's when I was like, man, I feel something special with the production. I started learning who the producers were: Dr. Dre, DJ Premier from Gang Starr, the Bomb Squad, from Public Enemy, KG from Naughty by Nature, Eric Sermon, and then Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest, and then eventually Jay Dilla when I realized who he were, because I didn't even know who he was. I heard the music, but I didn't realize he was from our same neck of the wood. But it was just cool Then eventually when I saw The Roots, that cracked my head because that was the first time I seen a band in hip hop setting. I was like, yo, this could be done. And it was a dream of mine to be able to do that and take it to another stage with all of my influence and my background with the gospel, because it's an energy thing. So I feel like the music that I'm playing, I'm bringing all of my history along with it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that was a part of my growth. And then I started becoming a hip hop drummer, you know, in the mid 2000s. I remember playing with Slum Village, a group from Detroit, Michigan, and Jay Dilla was a part of that group, JD, rest in peace. That was a dream to be in that situation because I've been a fan of the music, and I'm like, damn, I get the opportunity to play these records, and I built a name for myself. One of the skill sets that people always told me when I was little, they was like, yo, you got a good memory, photographic memory. Like if you hear something for one time, you can play it. You know, I had that reputation until I started listening to the jazz because it was more notes. It's a lot. And the crazy thing was back then, it wasn't no YouTube. You had to figure it out. You had to like listen and figure out what they were doing. So I feel like that gave me the advantage of my ear, you know, creatively. But just fast forward, just becoming a hip hop guys, I started working with Talib Kweli, Brooklyn MC. He had a group called Black Star with Mos Def. So I was Talib Kweli's music director. He had a group called Idol Worship, and then he also used me solo stuff. Then I was playing with Black Milk, another producer and artist from Detroit, Michigan. Pharaohe, like all the 90s people that I admire, I ended up working with them. I had this reputation of being a great music director. They call those MDs, paying attention to detail. And that's what people say. They respect, they know that if they give me the job, I'm gonna play it just like the record. The artist I was playing with, Black Milk, is from Detroit. He got invited to go to Nashville to work with Jack White from the White Stripes. So I'll never forget when the opportunity came. And it was crazy because from my knowledge, I think Jack offered to use his Nashville musicians, but Black Milk was like, no, I got my own guys I want to bring. So he brought us down to Nashville, and we went and recorded at Jack's home studio. And the following day we had a performance at Third Man Records, which is like a all-in-one facilities. They do concerts, they cut vinyl, and I never forget doing a set. I knew Jack was a drummer, but doing a solo, they give me a solo on this song called Losing Out. I never forget I heard somebody go, yeah! And the DJ told me like that was Jack, like Jack got it, he got excited, jumped up in the air, and then I went back to New York. A couple months later, I get an email from Jack's team that he was gonna be producing a 2-song 7-inch with RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan. RZA is one of my favorite producers, and I was so excited to get the opportunity. They flew me down to Nashville, got in the studio, got ready to record. RZA canceled the session. He was shooting movies or whatever, and I was heartbroken, you know what I'm saying? But Jack, he felt bad. He wanted to send me back to New York, but he was like, yo, I got some solo songs maybe we can try those out. So basically, I recorded with Jack for 2 days. You know what I'm saying? We cut four tracks. This was in 2011. And then the rest of 2011 goes by. And at this time, I was floating around between 4 bands. And I was booked 6 months to a year in advance. Like I was ripping and running. I played with Daisy Joplin. She plays violin from the UK. I was playing with Ski Beats. Ski produced Reasonable Doubt, like some of the big hits. And he's Camp Low. So I was in his band, music director from Talib Kweli, playing with Black Milk. So they were all inquiring about my availability at the same time in January for touring. And I was trying to narrow it down. To make a long story short, I remember getting an email from Jack's team that Jack was inquiring about my availability for 8 months to a year. I'm like, yo, what's this all about? I told him, I was like, well, I got some touring situations. I'm trying to decide on what I want to do. And I said, well, what's going on? And then Jack emailed me personally, and it was like, those songs that you recorded with me in Nashville, I recorded a solo album. This is going, it's a part of my solo album that's coming out, and I had this vision of touring with 2 bands, all female band and all guy band. Pretty much everybody that was involved on the project, and he asked out if I would be the drummer, and I was just like, I had to make some decision making because I'm a loyal person. To make a long story short, I ended up, doing the thing with Jack, and that was my transition from hip hop to rock and roll. So that was a dream of mine, to be able to play in that genre, because even in hip hop, everybody want to be a rock star, you know what I'm saying? But I'm thankful that my career was able to shift. I've done the Caribbean music, and yeah, the rest was history. When I started playing in the rock and roll world, that opened me to a whole nother market, a whole different lane, you know what I'm saying? Then I started playing country, getting called to do country session work. And then that's when I felt like it was my time to do something different. And I remember being on tour with Jack. There was the band members. They was like, man, you should come to Nashville, because they building it up. It's about to be a whole nother vibe. And the keyboard player, name's Ike Owens. Rest in peace. He died while we were on tour. We had this plan of moving to Nashville and trying to see if Jack would start a soul division. So he moved, and I was coming right behind him, but unfortunately, he passed away. I still made the transition, and that's pretty much, where I'm at with it. Currently, off tour with Jack White, I was able to start my own group, DMD, The Vibes. And DMD are initials. The first D is Daru Jones, that's me. The second initial is M for Marcus Machado from Brooklyn, New York. Amazing guitarist, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, the last D is Doug Wimbers from Living Color. The Doug Wimbers, yeah. Do your Googles, he's played with some everybody, pause. He's an OG. So we have a funk band, funk and soul band, kind of meters oriented, but with hip hop flavor and our own vibe. Because we all have our own backgrounds. Marcus got his background, I'm hip hop and all, and Doug Wimbers is just, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, all around. That's one of the projects that I'm currently involved with. Another project that I'm involved with is a band called 13. And it's a trio, another trio with myself. The same guitarist, Marcus Machado, he's in this band. And Pharaohe Monch is the rapper, 90s. One of the best lyricists out there. He was a part of a group called Organized Confusion. And yeah, he's top. We doing rock and roll hip hop combined together. That record just came out. Another project I can talk about is it's a legendary producer named Pete Rock from the 90s. One of the top 5 producers of all time, hip hop producers. He had a group called Pete Rock and CL Smooth, and I have the honor to be his music director. So I'm a part of the Soul Brothers, which is his band. It's myself, Marcus Machado, guitar player, Mono Neon, Memphis own, Big Yuki, Jermaine Holmes, he sings with D'Angelo and the Vanguard. He's also an artist himself. Christopher McBride, who else we got? Yannick on the strings. Brandon Newsom, percussion. And we have a couple other people that come in that played on the record. That project. Another project that I want to speak about is a collaboration I'm doing with an artist named Mark Knox. The project is called Knox Jones. We basically took our last names and made it to a group. So it's Knox is from the Mark Knox, and the Jones is me. And it's a soul band. It's like a hip hop, soul and hip hop. So it will be like if, I don't know, James Brown meets Dilla meets Marvin Gaye style with D'Angelo. He's versatile, and he's a musician. Ill producer and musician. He's worked with Battle Cat, Raphael Sadiq, Snoop Dogg. He's dope West Coast guy. And another project that I'm involved with is with T3 from Slum Village and Amp Fiddler from Detroit, Michigan. Amp is an OG. Yeah, we got a collaboration project that's coming out right now. So another project that I had the honor of being a part of, my good Leo brother. We are Leos, you know what I'm saying? I think I'm a few days after this brother. Mono Neon, the Mono Neon, man, he's a virtuoso. I mean, what more can I say about him? I know I'm a weirdo, but you know what I'm saying? Mono from another galaxy. He's very talented, you know what I'm saying? And he's played with Prince. He's also part of Pete Rock's band, and we've done stuff with other people. But Mono Neon, I went and recorded some drums with Boo Mitchell over at Royal, and I remember giving it to Mono, and Mono went in his own laboratory, came out with some tracks, and he just put out an EP called The Little Green Man, featuring yours truly, and that's out right now. You can check for that. One more project that I can mention is another project with T3 and Jermaine Holmes called Funk Deuce. It's a hip hop and soul project. We're still getting everything done, but yeah, that's what I'm currently up to. Before I move on with how I do my social media, because actually I do it all myself, I just want to talk about how I got to this point. I remember when MySpace was out, that was the thing, you know what I'm saying? I was all into it, you know, that was like everything. And I remember I used to network and try to find people that I felt like was my tribe, or they liked the same stuff that I liked. I was just networking with them and just building, you know, a presence. You know, that's when the whole internet changed, where you don't always have to be out. You can just be on your computer and you can interact, meet new people. So I used that platform, and then eventually Facebook came out. And I was like, man, this is another thing I gotta get on. Then, you know, I learned how to use Facebook. And at the same time, I have a label, my own independent label called Music Records. And just trying to build that awareness, you know, I always, you know, just watching other people when they have their new brands, it's not easy. But you just gotta keep putting that name out there, you know, and I have my logo, which is right here. It's like my Facebook vinyl, Music Records, and just kept putting information out there. And then I remember being a kid and being inspired by my heroes and wanting to know everything about them, do stuff like them. And, you know, I eventually, after paying dues, I would be in that position one day. I never thought I would, but so now just my mentality when I'm posting, I'm thinking like, man, I have a whole new different demographic, because when I go doing shows, depending on the genre, like in the rock and roll shows that I've done, there have been all ages, you know what I'm saying? So I would have little kids coming up to me, you know, saying that they enjoyed the show and they inspired and all this and that. So when I'm posting, I'm just thinking, okay, you never know who's going to be on your page, right? So I want to make sure that when I'm writing the content, if a 10-year-old person that's a fan of me, they can still read what I'm saying. Because it's like, it's to each his own. You know, some people, they have their flavor and they have their thing, they have their slang, and they just want to be them all the time. But for me, I feel like I want to be able to connect, because there's different lingos. Everybody don't always understand the codes, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm you know, typing in my content, it's a whole process. And basically, you know, it's about having style. I want to have style with everything that I'm doing. It's flavor. Like, you see all the details. It's not just a drum set. They're angled, and then you got the little details, the little bits. So that's the same. That's how I rock overall when I do anything, because I wanted to leave an impression and an impact, something memorable. You know, when you have certain things that's memorable, people, they recognize. You may not be there, but they be like, okay, I know who that is. I may not even be in this room, but if people saw a drum set angle like this, they automatically know. So that's how I do my posting. I used emojis, you know what I'm saying? And I just have a certain way. And I think it's important as artists to find your niche. It's easy to just look at what somebody else is doing, what works for them, and copy it. But at the end of the day, you don't want to be that person where people be like, man, you nicking my idea, you know what I'm saying? Because then people will call you out. Like, I just never want to be in that position. Some people is cool with the biting thing, but in the community that I'm used to in the hip hop world, That's nah, chill. You know what I'm saying? You would get in a fight, you would get in some trouble. But yeah, it's just all about making the best. And I use social media. It's like a diary, for myself. So everything that I'm posting is in real time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I may do the throwbacks or the flashbacks, but for the most part, I want people to live through me because everybody can't travel. You know what I'm saying? And you never know who you're inspiring. So I use my social media as a diary to hopefully inspire, also to be an example. If I can do it, you can do it too. You know what I'm saying? But just find your niche, and social media is powerful. You know what I'm saying? You have the control in your fingers to control the narrative and how people receive you and what you put out there. You can put out energy to be edifying, or you can put out energy to tear it down. And we don't. There's enough people. There's enough of that going around. So it's just monitor what you put out there, because that's how people are going to look at you. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff counts. What you put out there, people watching, and you want to wonder why some people may have the endorsements, or they may have more things because of how they move and how they operate. So use your social media wisely. I mean, if you're in your position to be politics, just try to be wise, because that can either make or break your progress in your career. So, an important factor, time management. Time is money. And it's really challenging because we're not just 9 to 5, we're 24 hours. It's a different day, and there's not budgets going around to hire media people to be around to photograph and film you. So with this technology, you gotta be your own, publicist, your own videographer, your own, so it's important that you get the content and that it looks a certain way, you know what I'm saying? Because when you see stuff that looks bootleg, depends on if it's done in a creative way. People they're gonna go more towards the quality. So basically just time management, and I do it second nature because I've been doing it for a while. It don't even register that I'm doing this. Like I just had y'all film what I was playing, but it's important to document. You know what I'm saying? Because that's your reel. When you want to say a lot of people, they have skills, but they're like, where can I see your skills? Do you have something on the internet? You got to have something, and it should be current. Nobody want to see nothing that happened 20 years back. I mean, it depends if you got something, a batch of stuff where you can show them some of your beginnings up to like now, but it's you gotta document, and it's basically it's a challenge because I don't always feel like doing it, especially when I'm performing. Like I'm using all my energy to prep for the show, sound check, and even before to get into the sound check, image is everything. So you got your wardrobe, and that's time management too. Trying to figure out what your style is going to be. So all those different factors. It just depends on the person, you know what I'm saying? But for me, the people that I look up to, they are the total package. They're not just a great drummer. They look good on stage and off stage. They have great mannerism, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's all of that. So time management is just like, if you got a phone, if you don't have people to do it for you, you gotta do it yourself. So just respectfully, if somebody's around, ask them if they can take a picture or film, document it. And it's challenging because it's like when everybody think that the show is done, they feel like, okay, that's it. But it's not, because now you gotta put the stuff on social media. So a lot of times when the show is over, I'm still working. I'm still going through the footage that I recorded, and I'm editing it to get the best parts, because you got to take out the bloopers. Sometimes people, they just want to get right to the point. What's the highlight? So I'm editing and trying to wind down, especially if you have a good show, you're on a high, you're on a musical high. So if you're a person that do other elements and make yourself wind down, I'm not that. It's all natural. I don't, I'm not a smoker or drinker. No diss, but it's when I'm on a musical high, sometimes my mind is just running. I'm just in show mode. You know what I'm saying? So just trying to time manage, especially if I'm on a tour and I know I got to get the following day early. So just trying to discipline myself. Okay, now I gotta try to count sheeps because I got to get some sleep. Otherwise, I ain't gonna be no good tomorrow. And then yeah, just making sure the content is presentable, and yeah. All right, some tips to give y'all. If you want to further your career, just like working 9 to 5, be on time. You know what I'm saying? Be prepared. You know, when somebody give you music, learn it before the rehearsal so you can come prepared. And be mannerable. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. It sounds old school, but it goes a long way. It goes a long way. Respect your boss because he has the authority over you. Doesn't matter if you're the same age or they're younger than you. They have the authority over you. They can hire you or they can fire you. So just make sure. And also, you know, try to be a good people person, because when people are looking to have you come on the road, they want to know that they can be around you, because sometimes you got to be on a bus for hours. And if you're moody and if you're cranky and if you got bad attitude, that might take you off the gig. So just make sure you try to present yourself and have good energy and just adapt to the environment. Another thing too that I've learned is depend on the type of person that you know, how far you want to go in your career, because the industry is oversaturated. There's so many people that can do what you do, but what's going to make you stand out? What make you stand out is finding your own identity, you know, whether it be the way you dress, the way you set up, the way you carry yourself. That's what's going to get you opportunities. Also, another thing to do is build relationships with the people that you work with. You know, some people, they just want to come to work, say hi and bye and leave. It goes more than that. If they have a dinner or any hangouts, go hang out and fellowship with them. That's going to build a family vibe and brotherhood and sisterhood. All that stuff is important. So those are just some tips. You know what I'm saying? Try to find your own identity. Go within yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because although ain't nothing has been done under the sun, there's still some new lanes that haven't been tackled. And we all have something special. You just got to find out what it is. So that's my recommendation. I'm Daru Jones, Master of Sound, live at Slim House.
you.